All right, what's up, guys? I am on my iPhone because I gave Fernie the mic, but this is Fernie from Rivas Pro Detail. He is my #1 detailer. He's done pretty much every single one of my cars. He did my Cayenne, my M3s, and every car that I had at ASG when I worked there, he did them. And he is pretty much the resident expert when it comes to paint correction, ceramic coating, PPF that I go to. So here we have the Cayenne. Finally got Shamu nice and cleaned up. It actually already got sprinkled on, so that's a shame. But still, he went ahead and did, what did you do? You did a single stage?
Yeah, so we did a single stage polish, and then obviously we went back over it with some SONAX sealant. So you're gonna have about a year of protection on that.
Yeah, and so SONAX is similar to ceramic, but it's a lot easier to apply and more cost effective.
Exactly. So SONAX, which the actual name of it is polymer net shield. It's basically like a lighter form of a coating. Okay. A lot simpler to apply than a coating, a lot more cost effective. So, you know, it doesn't cost nearly as much as it does to get a ceramic coating bottle as it does some SONAX, but you're gonna get a lot more protection than a wax.
Than a wax, exactly. Yeah. So it's like a wax, but another level up.
Yeah, it's like a wax that would last you a year.
Okay, cool. And then so going through it, I mean, this car, when you got it, it was disgusting, covered in mud, as you guys saw in the other episode. It was pretty terrible. So when you approach the car, I mean, what is the typical steps that you go to wash that car? Because some people might not know. They might think that just hitting it with a pressure washer and then wiping it down might be the solution. But you guys, I mean, there's a lot of layers that you went through that I watched the entire process on.
Yeah. So, you know, typically for like a standard car that we'd get in for a sealant or a coating, you don't have to do as many steps as you normally would do with something like this. Again, this is an off-road car, so you're gonna have mud in every single crack, every crevice, behind the wheels, in the suspension, all that stuff. So yeah, pressure washing the vehicle is gonna be the #1 step. So we're gonna basically strip off all the mud, all the dirt, everything from the car before we foam cannon it down, spray that off, and then go through with a regular touch wash. Okay. The reason we do the foam cannon before we actually touch the car is because we're trying to strip down as much dust as we possibly can before we actually put our hands on it. And then obviously before all that, we're gonna get the wheels, the tires, and the undercarriage in shape.
So, and then moving on to the suspension, obviously the paint looks fantastic. You did the correction with the SONAX, but the suspension is what really impressed me the most, considering how much dirt and grime was in there, in like every single like crevice. You got the wheel wells looking brand new, and I can actually see my lift kit now, which looks amazing. Thanks to Eurowise again for that. But what was the process behind that?
So again, it's pretty much a simple process. We're gonna go through and blast all the crud out of there. You know, all the dirt, all the mud, everything that's caked up from you going. Yeah, everything that's caked up in there from you going off road. Blast all that out. You know, just to start. Go in there, foam cannon everything down, degrease it, get in there with our detail brushes, hit every crevice, blast that out again, and then once it's all clean and everything looks good, we're gonna go ahead and bring it inside the shop. And then we're gonna douse it in our undercarriage spray, which is hyper dressing from Nanoskin. We're gonna let that sit for about 4 to 5 hours, and then we're gonna go back in and we're gonna towel all that down, because if you were to just leave it, it's gonna have like a really greasy, cheap finish. Yeah. It's not gonna look good. So once you towel that down, it has like a matte or like a satin finish to it. Right. The metals, the plastics, everything in there is gonna look super nice. And yeah, that's pretty much the process that we use for pretty much every undercarriage, unless it's a really lower card. Right. We're not gonna do that, but yeah, that's pretty much the process.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, again, it looks really, really good, especially because all the mud that was on there, I mean, it had been caked on there from multiple times of going off-road and then just heat soaking there with the engine, with the road and everything. And it was basically Adobe by the time you got it, like hardened Adobe. Yeah. So the fact that you were able to get everything off and to get it to look like that looks amazing. And then moving on from the outside to the inside, what you guys did on the interior was also extremely impressive, because when you got it, when you first saw it on like the second episode that we had you on, it was gross. Yeah. It was pretty gross.
It smelled like a petting zoo.
I don't know what they did. They probably dealt with livestock or something, because there was a bunch of like dirt and like hay and like feed in like little crannies all inside. And there was hairs, there was tons of stains and everything, and stains that had actually like crystallized onto the carpet. Yeah. Right? And you guys were able to get everything out, which really shocked me. And so how did you go about getting the interior restored to like what it looks like right now?
Yeah, so the interior is actually a really tricky one. Especially for a car that was this dirty, you have to break it up into like sections. Yeah. I would say the first section, you know, that we would start with would be the leather. Besides vacuuming everything up, that's like the standard. Before you even start working on the interior, you have to vacuum everything: plastics, leather, carpet, all that. We're gonna go ahead and scrub down the leather. We have brushes, scrub pads, our leather and vinyl and plastic cleaner as well. So we're gonna go ahead and douse the leather, scrub it down, basically strip off all the oil, all the dirt, all the grime.
That's how you get it to get back to that matte finish?
The matte finish, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And then we have a variety of conditioners. Most people like satin, you know, not too glossy, nothing cheap. So that's what we did. We went back in with some 303 conditioner, conditioned all the leather down, let that sit, and just like the undercarriage, we're gonna go ahead and towel down the extra. That way you don't have that like cheap looking gloss.
And it doesn't feel slippery when you get back in.
Exactly, it's not slippery. Yeah. As far as the staining goes, a couple methods could be used. In this case, we had to do pretty much the strongest method that we could that we offer, which is going to be steam cleaning, extraction, drill brush, everything we got, all our tools.
Like every single.
Yeah. When the stains are crystallized like that, you're going to want to, you know, get some APC on there, all-purpose cleaner. Let that sit for a while, drill out the stain with a drill brush, and then go in with some steam, heat it up, and then extract it right after. Right. That's going to be the best method to get a stain out. If that method doesn't get the stain out, pretty much nothing will.
You might as well just do a recarb.
Exactly.
And then, so before we finish though, but as far as all the cars that you've seen, this car is it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Is it one of the worst ones that you've seen?
It's not the worst.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's not the worst. All right. So what was the biggest challenge about this car then?
So the biggest challenge about this car would probably be the vacuuming. I'm not gonna lie to you. As simple as it sounds, yeah. As simple as it sounds, there was so much dust and dirt and hair and.
Oh, and the other thing was that because the headliner had been ruined. Right?
Oh, it was dropping.
It was the headliner.
Yeah.
Cheese. So like, it was everywhere.
Yeah. Sure. No, the dust, the vacuuming of the car was probably the worst.
Really?
Because that takes forever.
Really?
Yeah, that's what burnt the most time.
And so before we finish though, as far as the paint is concerned, I mean, obviously you did a single stage, right? So you could have gone even further and gotten this thing looking even better than it looks right now.
Yeah,
which, for an off-roading car and stuff like that, luckily it's an SUV, it's a daily, like it's never gonna be, 100% perfect. But what you guys did was you alleviated a lot of the swirling and a lot of the fading, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that the paint was faded, it's just that sometimes you have to bring back some depth.
Yeah.
So what happens there? Like, why is it that paint gets that way over time?
So, I mean, especially in South Florida,
the sun?
Yeah, the main thing that it's gonna be is the sun. Paint is a lot, and clear coat is a lot like your skin. If you don't protect it with sunscreen, you're gonna get burnt, right?
Right.
Same thing as with the clear coat in your paint. If you don't put, at least a wax or a sealant or a ceramic coating or paint protection film or whatever it is to protect the surface of your paint, it's eventually gonna burn. Right. There's a whole science of that we can get into, in a later topic. But basically, what we did by polishing it was evening out or leveling the paint. Removing all the shallow scratches. There's a couple deep ones from branches and stuff like that, yeah, which obviously we're not gonna chase because this is an off-road car. It's gonna get scratched again. Yeah. But we were trying to bring back the gloss by cutting out the oxidation, removing some swirls.
And you brought back some depth too.
Exactly. So now that we put the sealant on, you're not gonna have the fading. As long as that sealant is on there, you're not gonna have any fading of your paint. Obviously with the off-roading and all that stuff, when it's due time to get it done again, we'll do the same thing. We'll do a little single step polish. Minimal risk to your clear coat. We're not shaving off a bunch of clear coat like we would be if we were sanding and compounding and stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah, we'll repeat the process. Nice.
And then the final detail, which was the one that actually was the most fun for me, was the yellow PPF. So we went ahead and did the yellow PPF. That
was actually my favorite.
Yeah. So the yellow PPF, we finally got it because it took forever to ship, but whatever. we got it on the Hellas, and then we got it on the. That being said, thank you for everything. I mean, the car looks absolutely fantastic. I'm pretty sure it's done aesthetically. You were like the final piece to the puzzle of making sure that this car was ready for whoever else wants to take it on its next adventures. It's gonna be a pain to let go of this car because I really do love it. This is one of my favorite cars of all time that I've ever owned. But yeah, if you guys are ever in need of paint correction, ceramic coating, PPF, window tints, I mean, what else? That's pretty much everything you do.
Yeah, everything. Standard detailing as well.
Standard detailing as well. Rivas Pro Detail is your guy. I mean, Fernie's been doing this for what, like 6 years now?
Yeah, officially 6 years, but we've got more time. I mean,
started off mobile, now he has his own shop.
Yeah, since 2013.
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend anybody else. He's really your guy. Please, if you ever book him, just use the code FUELFILES. That way we know that I sent you there. And yeah, man, I mean, his work speaks for itself. This car looks basically new compared to how it was before. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Got it. And we'll see you on the next project. Cheers.